I can use the function of best fit to make prediction. I can write the equation of a line of best fit by using 2 points on the best fit line.
So when we are looking at this today, what we are going to be doing is we are going to be looking at our scatter plots and doing a line of best fit. The line of best fit is usually going to be linear for ours as we are starting out. So if you continue, Sam, reading where it says a trend line.
A trend line is a line on a scatter plot drawn near the board that shows correlation. There should be about the same number of points above the line on the board.
Vanessa, would you read that last statement again? Yep, there should be, what Sam just read.
There should be about the same number of points above the line as below.
Would you read it again, Lauren? Because people are missing this point when they do their homework. Would you read that again?
There should be about the same number of points above the line as below it.
So you're going to make a scatter plot today. When you make that scatter plot, this one, it was nice. The points were linear. The line went right through all the data points. Yours is not always going to be that way, okay? The key thing is you're not talking, you're not making any noise besides me talking right now. The key thing is that you are going to have half your data points above the line and half below. As you continue reading, Emily, would you go where it says you use?
You can use a trend line to estimate a value between two unknown data values.
Interpolation.
Or to predict a value outside the range of known data values
So it says predicting is in the red area, that's our interpolation. Okay, so interpolation is between the data points. Extrapolation are these two green areas, right? So the green area here and this green area over here. That's my extrapolation. It is outside of my data points. Okay? Could we come up with a line of best fit for this? And that's what we are going to be doing. We're going to be using our equations. So the first part, as we go down to that next part, is going to be your steps. So when you're in your homework tonight and you're trying to figure out, how do I do this? These are the exact steps you want to take. So, Natalie, would you first read the question and then step 1?
Make a scatter plot of the data at the right. What is the approximate weight of a 7-month-old panda? Make a scatter plot and draw a trend line. Estimate the coordinates of 2 points on the line.
So, key point. Anna, read that last statement. What? Estimate
the coordinates of 2 points on the line.
One more time, we need it. Piper?
Estimate the coordinates of 2 points on the line.
2 points on the line, not necessarily 2 data points. 2 points on the line. So, when we draw our line of best fit, the line does not have to go through every data point. It might. As we look at this one, so these are our steps. So today when you do your homework and you're trying to write the equations, because you're going to have 2 that you're going to make graphs of. On the graph paper, you will show me your data points, your scatter plot, and then you will show me the other work, because tomorrow we will probably turn in 340 and the graphs for this one for tonight. These are the steps. Step 1, we're going to make that. We're going to find 2 points that are on our line. Step 2, we're going to write an equation for our trend line. What do you do first? First step, you have to find the slope. You've got to go back and use point slope form. So you thought, just preparing for the final, you were going to do that in that unit. This is part of that. You have to use point slope. You have to rewrite that equation, the last form. What form is this one in for that final answer? If you were looking at it, Keegan, you'd say what? Yeah, I know I need you to focus up here. What would that form be of that equation that I highlighted on here?
That would be
So when we started here, this one was point slope. Nick, this is in what form? Abby, can you help us out? That is slope intercept. So you're going to get your final equation in slope intercept. So step 2, when you write an equation, this is the work I will need to see. So if you struggle with this tonight, you're going, I don't get how to do this, you're going to turn to your notes. And these are the exact steps. They're also in your textbook for this lesson. But you're going to start with finding your change in y over change in x. Then you're going to put it in point slope form. Now when we use point slope form, what did we use for point slope form? Instead of writing it that way, we said y was equal to, we said m times x minus x1 plus the y1. So we use that instead of this form by putting that y behind over here. I would say that's probably going to make it a little easier for most of you. And then what you're going to do for step 3 is you're going to try and find when x is equal to 7, because months are on our x-axis. So please write this down, x equals 7. So in this equation, you're going to go back and you're going to replace the x with 7, and you're going to compute what that is. And then our answer would be in that many pounds. Okay? So these are the steps. We're going to go through and do one like this. So for this next, on the top of the next page, we put the points down for you in the notes. So you don't have to plot them. One of the things that you are going to want to do, ordered pair, 2 and what? Look at your ordered pairs for our data. 11.75. Okay? And at 6, I'd say this one probably on my line. Now, I don't know your line, right? But I want you to pick 2 of the points that I have so you just kind of have, you all have the same work as I did. Okay? So at this point, we are going to use, so you always need to tell me your 2 points. So my first one is 211.75. Another one of mine is this point right here at 4, and I would say that that's at 4 and 16.7. So what you need to do when you draw your line is tell me the 2 points it went through. Someone said, well, could I have used, I don't know exactly where that is. It's less than 20, so I can't predict it. Same thing here. This is really close to 725, but it's a little less, so I don't want to use that. Okay, so what I'm looking at those. So step 1 in writing our equation. This is what I'll see on your graph paper. So you'll put this on your graph paper tonight. First thing we have to do is find our slope. How do we find the slope? It is the change in y divided by our change in x. So if you are going to start me off, Maria, tell me what you're going to write for your change in y. What's our, I have 211.75 and 416.7. What is one of your y points you want to subtract? You want to put 11.75 first, minus 16.7, or other way around? Okay, so 16.7 minus 11.75. On your paper, I will need to see how you are doing this. So on your paper, write this down in your notes, so that then on your homework, you will show these same steps. So then we are going to put in our denominator 4 minus 2. That gives us 2 in the denominator. 16.7 minus 11.75. Please do that subtraction. Now divide, because we are going to get our slope as a decimal. So 2 divided by 4.95. Use your calculator, because we want to be exact. I don't want you approximating it. Take your calculator out and do the division. No, I don't want you to just blurt it out. I want you to actually divide it on your calculator and then tell me your answer, not just go, oh, I think this is it. Emily, you get it from me? 2.475. So we might go with 2.48, maybe. I think this morning in our class, ours came out to be like 2.9, so we picked some different points, right? So when you look at these equations and your answer in the back, so when we did ours today, I think you came out with 2.9 or 2.85 or something like that. As long as I can see your work for how you found the slope, we're now going to write that slope in your equation. So we have 2.48, usually 2 decimal places is great. Now we need to find the y-intercept. So we are going to go to point slope form. Point slope form looks like what, Cassandra? Tell me. Y equals M X1. Which point do you want to use? 211.75, 4, 16.7. It doesn't matter. You just got to pick one. Okay? So we're using the first one. So we're going to go to our equation, and we know our slope was 2.48. We just found that. We're going to have x minus. We're using the first point. Our x point is 2. Lucas, are you writing this? Plus, we are going to put our y point, which was 11.75. Okay? You are now going to distribute, so please use your calculator and get the exact answers and not just looking at it and going, yeah, I know I'm really good with numbers, so I don't need to use my calculator. No, I want you to use your calculator. 2.48x minus, as you continue subtracting that, so when you were multiplying, Grace, what did you have? 2.48 times negative 2 gave us
Negative 1.96.
okay? And we're adding 11.75 to that. So now, if I'm looking at that, what is my new equation, Caleb, going to be in slope-intercept form? Y equals 2.48 when I added these last two together. What did you get? All right, so on your calculator, you're going to put in negative 4.96 and add 11.75. Oh my gosh, great, I know. Are you writing all this down? Or none of that. So the whole slope, the 2 points, this is what I'm going to need when you do your homework. Okay, write it all down. I can stand here and wait for you. What'd you get, Caleb? 6 point what? For the y-intercept, what'd you end up with? 6.79. Okay, we're looking at those two. Does everyone agree? Negative 4.96 plus 11.75. 6.77, 6.79. Which one are we looking at? 6.79. So, this is our equation. You are now going to use that equation, and we are going to use x equals 7. And we are going to plug in y equals 2.48 times 7 in that equation, plus 6.79 to tell me approximately how many inches. That would actually be, in this case, an interpolation, because that's going to be right here. Whereas for an 11-month-old panda, that's when you're going to use x equals 11. And you go back to your same equation. This one is going to be an extrapolation. So this is telling us at 0, I get month 0, right? 6.79 in this case inches. And each month, what is happening to our panda? It is growing by almost 2.5 inches, 2.5 inches per month is what it's looking like for those first 9 months. So your two answers, what did you have for the first one, Logan? 24 point what? And could you say about 24 inches? Would that be okay if we didn't put the decimals with it? Yes, and you could have those decimals. And for the next one, Hale, what did you have when you plugged in 11? Okay, just plug it in your calculator, 2.48, plug that in. What you got? Mason, what'd you get?
My calculator.
Okay, Zach, what'd you get?
I don't have a calculator.
What'd you get?
34.07.
I don't even have it.
What do we have?
34.07.
34.07 inches. So we could say about 34 inches? Yes, we could say. Put it down. Put it down.
34.07.
I know.
I just said that, Zach. I know.
Fees charged at public 4-year colleges. The equation of the line of best fit. The equation of the line of best fit is y equals 409.43 x minus 815,446.71, where x equals the year at the beginning of the academic year, and y equals cost.
So y is our cost at our institution, and we are asked to predict for 1998. That means in this equation, so you'll have some questions similar to this on your test. That means that we are using x equals in our equation 1998. Would you say that this is an interpolation or extrapolation from this data table? 1998. This is going to be an extrapolation. So please right now, write down that you are putting x equals 1998 and replace on your calculator, put in 409.43 times 1998 minus this number. Okay, and the rest of you, if you don't have a calculator, sit quietly, and maybe the person by you has one, and you can share your information and then start coming with a calculator. All of mine have disappeared, so don't complain about it, just bring one. I need you to have a calculator in class. Tell your parents, you need a calculator. What are we looking at for our costs?
2594.43.
So, and again, when we look at this, we're going to go to the nearest cent as we are looking at it. So, $2,594.43. Okay? How did we get that? That was all by just replacing the X with 1998. Okay? This next one, so that is for 1 year tuition. That's actually pretty cheap back in the day. 2016, if you are looking at, we are now going to replace X equals 2016. This is also from our data, an extrapolation, right? It's outside of our data. So this is like looking at, if you're looking at Morehead State, Valley City State, MDSU, we're talking about state four-year institution colleges and how much they are charging for tuition. So you were replacing, again, 409.43 times 2016. Those of you that have a calculator, we were looking at that amount being closer to 10,000, which I'm not sure if some of you have siblings that went to school last year at a state institution, but about $9,964.17. That's for a tuition. So when you look at that, we are talking about tuition. We are not talking about room and board and all those other things. That's strictly your tuition for taking the classes. That wouldn't be for your books and for your fees. Question? So when you put it in, you should have put in 409.43 times 2016 minus the 815,446.71. Did you get all that in the calculator? I'm not sure. Then I'll have to look at how you put it in. Okay? Yeah. Question? Anyone else? I'll have to check, but that should be what you got. Maybe you put in one of the numbers wrong, or you didn't multiply. I'm not sure. I'd have to look at it. Yeah, this is multiplied. Oh, then I don't know if you put in something wrong. I'd have to look at it. I'm not sure. If you missed one of the numbers here, or if you missed something. So then the next question says, what does the slope of this best fitting line say about our change in the cost of tuition? So what is happening? Write it down, please, right now. What is that slope? And the slope is, right, 409. So what is that 409.43 telling you? In terms of this situation, write it down, don't say it. Just write it down. And again, make sure you put the dollar signs with these because labels are important, right? So I'll wait for some of you to know, some of you aren't writing anything, that we are looking at something like the cost increases by about $409.43 per year. So making sure that when you look at that, we are talking about, and that's our average cost that we were looking at, okay? In your homework, this is where I'm referring to the graph paper. On your graph paper, you will plot your points for number one, and then for number 5. You will use half the graph paper for the top half, you'll use the other half for the bottom half of the question. On that graph paper, you will show me all of these steps of getting your equation. Because here, it asks you to describe the correlation and it just asks you to write the equation. This equation in number 3 is in slope-intercept. All of this work will be on your graph paper. So you're like, I don't get what work you're talking about. I am talking about all of step 1 through 3. That's what I need on the graph paper. So when you get your graph paper, that's what I am